This here is when you're making a comic book. And if you're not into comic books, it's okay. This applies to a lot of different things. If somebody's creating a comic book or they're creating some sort of concept art or something like that, they will start with an outline, a drawn outline. You guys have seen me doing this at my desk, I'm sure, a lot in the past, drawing this stuff out. So this would be an outline, like an inked page of a comic book. What we're going to learn how to do for this project is we're going to take this and we're going to make it look like this. So notice the difference. This is from one of my favorite comic books. It's called Invincible. So this is the same image, right? This is what the drawer does. And then the digital painter, the digital colorer comes in and adds all of this beautiful color to it to really bring it to life. You see that difference there? This is what we're going to be doing for this project. It kind of looks like this. We're going to be taking an outline and we're going to be coloring it or painting it in a way that makes it look like this finished product over here. We're going to be doing this in Photoshop. A lot of you don't really know how to use Photoshop, and that's totally fine. We're only just going to learn how to use it for this particular project. All right, Spider-Man. Well, I got a ton of Spider-Man, but anyway. All right, so here we go. You just go up to the Google search bar and you type in Spider-Man, and then you write comic book ink, I-N-K. Spider-Man comic book ink. Then when you go to images, you will see a bunch of different black and white versions. Now, if you want to do this, you have to go to tools and make sure that the size of your image is large. So when you do that, let's say you really like, I don't know, let's say this one here with Venom in it. You click on it, you got to make sure it comes through really clean, and then you can use that. If it comes through fuzzy, it's not going to work for this particular project. That one's kind of cool too. Let's say you don't like comic books. Maybe you are a huge fan of the Powerpuff Girls. If you're going to do something that's not a comic book related, you just have to use different search things, like Powerpuff Girls coloring book might be good. There we go. So then when I go to large images, I can click on that, and voila, that will work for this project as well. Maybe let's say I like a manga. What's a popular manga? I don't have any, maybe I do. Hunter X Hunter, is that what it's called? You're going to look up a manga, you look up manga page after the term. Okay. When you've done that, same deal, right? You'll get high res black and whites that you can use. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to go to your file explorer. That is your little file explorer here. And I want you to go to downloads. When you go to your downloads, you should see that file. See how it says today? You should see that file that you just downloaded from the internet or from my Google Classroom. And what you're going to do with that is don't just click on it and open it. Right click on it. Right click, and it's going to give you some options. Okay. And the one you want is this one that says open with. Open with. So what we do is we go to open with, and you can come down here and you can see where it says Adobe Photoshop right there. Yours might not say that. If yours doesn't say that, just go to choose another app, and then you could just go find Adobe Photoshop. All right, so scroll down until you find it. If you still don't see it, you just look for it. In my case, and you only have to do this part once. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. Sorry. So you just go open with Adobe Photoshop 2020, and what will happen is once you've opened it, come on. Where'd that go? There it is. Once you've opened it, it'll open it in the program that we just had opened already. The reason we want to do that is for this reason. I'll show you right now. Once you do that, it's going to automatically open in Photoshop. Like Photoshop is a way to open files and then edit them and do weird stuff to them, right? Photograph like this, open the image like this. And then I want you to go up to where it says File and go to Save As. And then we're going to rename this. So we're going to rename it. In your case, you can just name it Graphic Design Project, or I'm going to call mine Digital Painting Hour 3. Okay, so just rename it Digital Painting Hour 3, or well, no, in your case, you could name it, I could name it Wolverine, X-Men Color, whatever. We just want to not have it be that weird, long file type that from the internet, right? So Digital Painting Hour 3. I'm actually going to save mine to my desktop So, because I like to put stuff on the desktop because it's for easy access, you can put yours wherever you want. You click save. Put it on my desktop. And then you're good. Just make sure it's on your desktop. You can hit save, and then your money in the bank. So what we want to do here is we want to try to color in the lines of this thing. It's basically like an adult coloring book, like a super cool coloring book. The first step of this project is going to be just putting in flat, basic colors. The second step is when we start adding all the shading and the highlights and all the effects to make it look like it really stands out. But the first step is just called flatting. We're just putting in flat colors, just like if you had a box of crayons and you were coloring on your desk when you were a little kid. Okay, so now what you would think, oh, I should mention, the only things we're going to use for this are the eraser and the paintbrush. That's all we're going to use for flatting. So what we want to do is we want to go click on our paintbrush. All right. In fact, I know I just said put down your mice, but everybody, if you do have your project open, you can click on your paintbrush with me. And this is an important part of flatting. We want to make it so that our paintbrush is a hard circle and not a soft circle. A hard circle and not a soft circle. So the way you do that is once you have your paintbrush selected, you go up here, you can see this little house icon. Then right next to it, there's a little paintbrush icon. And then right next to that, there's a little dot. All right, that's the one we want. We want this second drop down. When you click on the second drop down, you're gonna have a whole bunch of different files, different file names and stuff. The very first one will say general brushes. And we wanna click the very first circle. It's called the hard round paintbrush tip. That's what we wanna use, hard round. I'm gonna pause there for a second because this is gonna be our primary tool for all of our flatting. We're gonna be using the hard round brush for like a few days while we color this in, okay? Hard round. Okay, once we've got that established, you should just get used to this activity here. The bracket keys on your keyboard, they're up by the P. The right bracket will increase the size of your cursor. You see how I've done that? Left bracket will decrease the size of your cursor. A big key element to flatting or doing any sort of digital painting is being able to navigate your program, right? So how big do I want my stroke, or how big do I want my paintbrush to be? How zoomed in am I? How zoomed out am I? So making your bracket or making your paintbrush really big or really small is important. Also, Control Plus, zooming in and zooming out is really important. This is kind of like training your body to use your pencil properly. Navigating the program in real time is really helpful. All right, so Control Plus zooms in, Control minus zooms out. The right bracket increases your cursor, the left bracket decreases your cursor. Okay, that's not really how to do anything. That's just the virtual version of looking closer at your coloring book page or stepping back a little bit or, really getting the edge in. All right, so now here we go. If I want to color this guy, I've got my paintbrush selected. Your workspace may not look exactly like my workspace, but that's okay. You can completely customize your workspace. The only thing I like to have up is my color selection and my layers. That's the only thing that matters. You might have like a little tutorial window or something up on yours right now. You can delete that or minimize it out. You can go to window and I just have color and layers selected, okay? Those are the only things you must have in order to do this. You can have any extra stuff up that you want, but I'd imagine it'll be, if we want to convert Photoshop just to a digital painting / coloring book page, all we need color, layers, using our paintbrush and our eraser. Okay. You can do it however you want. You can set it up though. If you're looking to get yours set up like mine, you go up to window, you just select color and layers. Okay. That was a lot of talking. So here we go. We've got our hard round brush. Here's what I want to do. I want to color this in like a coloring book page, right? So if I go select yellow, because that's Wolverine, right? Actually, I think I'll do the old school Wolverine. It's a little more brownish. There we go. Nah, you know what? Screw it. We're going X-Men animated series version. Okay, so if I want to just color him in, I'm zooming in because I'm trying to get control of my workspace. If you use two hands, two fingers on your trackpad, you can move your canvas around. So you can get used to that. Two fingers at once will move your canvas around. Okay, so it would make sense if I was just coloring on a regular coloring book page to just start coloring, right? Well, if I try to color right now, what's going to happen, do you think, if I just start trying to color on top of this? Well, here we go. Watch. I'm going to color. Well, that's going to, I mean, we're losing all the detail, right? What is this crap? This doesn't look anything like all those examples I showed you. Okay, so that's useless. So that's not going to work at all because it's going to, if I try to color like that, it's going to ruin the artwork, right? So that sucks. So how can I possibly color and also have all of the perfectly beautiful artwork intact? How can I color underneath the black lines? Does anybody have any idea? What might I do? Feel free, you're probably going to be wrong, so just feel free and throw it out. What might make sense if I want to color behind it? Let me show you this. If I make a new, oh, somebody suggested something. Move your layer. Okay, that's a great idea. That's what I was hoping you'd say. Harmony is absolutely right conceptually, okay? She says, we'll make a new layer. Here's how you make a new layer. You go down here to create layer. Create new layer. You see how I just made a new layer here? Some of you people who are familiar with Photoshop might know what I'm talking about. Okay, so what I was doing a second ago was basically just coloring, but I'm coloring on top of my background image. You see that? It's just a couple of layers here. Now, her suggestion was we want to just put that behind the image, right? Well, that is a good idea, but if I put it behind the image, this photograph here, all right, I'll drag it down behind the image. I need to unlock my background, sorry, should have mentioned that. If I take it and I put it behind the image, well, now that yellow piece is just sitting behind my piece of paper, right? So that's useless also. So what I want to do, I need to figure out a way to color in front of the white on the drawing and behind the black. So I want to squeeze my color in behind the black lines, but in front of their white background. So that seems really confusing, right? How the heck could we do that? Well, guess what? There is a way. Check this out. I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer out. If I take, see how it says layer 0 right here? This is the most important thing. This is how I was able to start making comic books when I found this out. This thing that says layer 0, it's a full representation of this image that we've brought in. Right up here, there's the word normal. This is the part where you're really going to want to focus on what I'm saying. Right here, there's the word normal. I have my outline selected. See, I've got this layer 1 selected. This is called a layer style. So if I click on the drop down of my layer style, there's all kinds of weird stuff that I can do to it. All right, so there's like if I click on, oh, I don't know, overlay. Well, it won't make any sense right now because I don't have anything. But just, this is all you need to remember. Go to where it says normal, and you're gonna go to this thing that says multiply. You're gonna set this ink page to multiply. All right, just see, look at what I've got here. I've set it to multiply. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a new layer, layer 1, and then I'm going to drag it so that it's below, like Harmony was saying, below my outline. Okay, now watch. I have not done anything different. I still have my hard-edged yellow paintbrush, but because that top layer is set to multiply, watch what happens. When I come in to paint old Wolverine's head here, it goes behind the black, but stays in front of the white. So you can color it in just like an actual coloring book. It's awesome because the black really acts as like, it'll block your, it'll block anything behind it. So look, I'm coloring with my yellow here, and if I go slowly, I can get it right up to the edge like that. And even if I go over a little bit, it doesn't really matter because watch, I'll just go over like that. I'm just coloring them up. This is incredibly fun. I think this will be one of the more fun things you do in art class, all right? It's basically like doing a high-tech coloring book. Okay, so I've got some yellow painted in there, right? Looking good. Okay, I don't actually have Wolverine's outfit up right now as a reference point, but I think it's dark blue if memory serves me. So watch, now I can just continue coloring, and I can color over like top like this. So I can color in, I'm coloring behind his face or behind the black lines. This is how I do my entire comic book right here, guys. This is what I do. So this is called flatting. You see how it's all on its own layer right here? It's hidden behind it, flatting. I'm putting in flat colors. It's super duper fun. You will like it. If you were in class, I actually have little digital drawing tablets that make it even more fun. Sorry about that. Thanks, Obama. I don't even know what that means. All right, so here we go. I could probably, so if I was really going to do this well, I would pull up a reference of Wolverine's outfit and I would start coloring it. So look, check that out. All right, so I'm being a little sloppy. So I'm zooming in. If you can tuck your cursor behind the black line and go real slow, you can get your cursor to fill in the color exactly where you want it to go. This process is time consuming, but it's incredibly satisfying. So like if you just throw on some music or, you know, have a YouTube video playing in the background, this is actually very fun. I think you will really enjoy it, just coloring it in. So notice how I'm navigating my workspace. All right, so I'm moving it around. I can zoom in and out. See how cool this is starting to look. Oh yeah, one thing I was gonna say is this. All right, so let's say I'm painting with my cursor and I forgot to adjust the size and I jack it up like this. See that? Okay, we need to pay attention to this as well. The big key takeaways from this are setting your layer to multiply and coloring below it. The second big takeaway is using a hard brush. Okay, so now the opposite of a hard brush is not necessarily a soft brush. What might the opposite be? If I'm applying pigment with this tool, what might I want to use to remove the pigment? Anybody have any ideas? If you were thinking eraser, then you are correct. All right, so watch. Now I want to use my eraser to correct any errors like this. So what I can do is this. I'll just click on my eraser. And now very similarly to this, I want to go up to the tip here, and I got to just make sure in general brushes that I've got it on hard round. Okay, so the paintbrush and the eraser are like two sides of a coin, right? They're the yin yang. They do the exact same thing. One applies pigment, one removes pigment. All right, so watch. So I just come in here, the eraser, and I can just take out what I messed up. As long as I've got everything on hard round, I can just do this. Okay, so look, I'm just started coloring. Look how dope that looks. It's gonna be awesome when I get going. But now then all of a sudden I'm off and running, right? It takes a while. But let's see, I've got a sentinel over here. So he's like purple. I can just jump back in, switch to my paintbrush, change the color up, and I can start coloring in the sentinel. Right now we want to just get the colors pretty close to what we want to keep them as, and we're just doing flat colors. A big part of this lesson that I'm going to show you in a little while, after we've platted for a couple of days, is how to then apply shadowing and lighting and stuff like that. But you have to have your flats in first in order for it to work. Now, I know that I'm not doing this right. You see how I'm getting kind of sloppy like this? Like I just went up over his forehead here like that, and that sucks. Now, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, sentinels are like purple and pink. So this top part here, I messed up right here. Let's say I want this forehead band to be purple. I want this top thing to be pink, right? I intentionally went over the line right here because I didn't care, because I'm coming back over it with a different color anyway. So as long as I can get that line clean on one side like this, it'll be clean. It'll look good. So like a lot of times when people flat, they will sloppily put in a base color. It's kind of like painting. Sloppily put in a base color and then come in with the neighboring color and do the outline really cleanly, so that you don't have to do the outline twice. It's totally up to you though. That's what makes it slightly different from coloring. You can color right on top of something with perfect what do you call it? Like intensity, I guess. But that color won't change. But anyway, so I'm just coming in here painting like this. Now there, that doesn't work because I messed up. So I need to jump over to my eraser. I can just take that out like that. All right, so you can see that as I begin, it's a bit of a task. I mean, that took me about 5 minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes as I was talking, but I'm giving you plenty of time, right? And also you're going to find that this is incredibly fun.